welcome to the Book Over, our little book club where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, and with me is Megan.
Hey, everybody.
And today we are talking about a combination of, it's the Bay Ridge Royals book 1 and 2. One's a novella, and another one's a full-length book, Shamelessly Royal and Battle Lines. So,
Heather.
Yes, Heather Long. Sorry, I'm like,
Yes.
God, it's Heather Long. For those who don't know, but you should know because you read the book.
And we're going to have an interview with her.
Yes, and we'll stay because we have more with Heather on it. So I really enjoyed. I'm so happy to see it's like the Vandals world continuation, but like with characters that we don't get their full story, but so much of, but not enough of. You know what I mean? Like getting more of them. So I'm liking these two books so far. Oh my gosh. Blah, blah.
And they're expanding into a kind of a world that was explored, but not completely, this upper crust society and the political wars that rage on within them.
Yeah. So Shamelessly Loyal was interesting because it's like a flashback to like scenes that we get in the Vandals of like when they're younger and the two girls like run away to Disney World for M's birthday. And then you get this scene where like Milo and Adam and Ezra have a confrontation and Lainey kind of meets Milo but doesn't know who Milo is. So like that part I found really interesting. And then it like fast forward to like when Emerson is in, it's like Dirty Devil, so book 4 of the Vandals, when they're trying to get her back and Lainey helps out with like finding her, and then that's when like Milo and Lainey like meet again and like all this stuff. So it's like an interesting like backstory of like what's going, like it's like what's going on that we don't see.
It's what we were wondering when we were reading. There were all these hints towards Lainey and Milo, and we're like, what's going on? What's going on? And it's what went on and how they fell for each other. And then and then we pick up with them in a relationship. And like Milo living with Lainey and trying to kind of be part of this world and protect her, dealing with King, his father. And then Lainey, kind of trying to protect her sister and dealing with her grandfather, and then Adam and Ezra doing their respective things. Ezra's kind of tied up with King and his family. Adam is, again, they're also trying to protect the sister. And then, got away from King, but it's now with somebody else, this mysterious woman who's got her fingers in different things going on. So you're trying to figure out like what's going on, like what are people's goals, what are their end games. King's recruiting, and then Bodhi shows up and you're just like, he's causing havoc. So it's very interesting.
Yeah I loved just like I love Ezra. If you guys didn't know that, I think I've said this before. But then I'm like, okay, I really liked Milo in this book too. I just loved him with Lainey, how they complement each other really well. And then like, I love that like he's finally getting
the girl
story, and he's getting the girl, and but then you get glimpses of Adam and Ezra, and you're like, but I feel like they both deserve the girl too.
And that's why I choose.
So it's and that's why I choose. So it's just like I'm nervous because they're not getting along. Like not everyone is getting along, and I'm like, how are we gonna get to this point where we're that happy found family? And then like I think I'm really worried about Ezra and his feelings getting super hurt.
Well, Ezra's been through a lot. He gets beat up. He doesn't know how to express himself. He kind of seems like he might be in like one of the worst positions with King and his family. I think that he might be in more turmoil than like anyone really knows or we know. So I do feel for Ezra. I want the flashbacks of the island. Like I want to know what happened. I mean, we know what happened on the island, but I kind of want to see like how it developed.
There's hints. There's not like a full like I want a flashback scene of them together on island, and I want to see sweet Ezra with her because like she said he's super sweet and cuddly, and I'm like I want to see that because I know it's there.
And he's definitely trying to like beg for forgiveness for the whole mistake thing. Now I'm a big fan of Adam. I've always kind of liked their chemistry they've had in Vandals, and I like their back and forth. I like how he like found out Ezra. I'm sorry, Ezra. I do like that he punched Ezra, like that Lainey trumps this friendship and that like he was using, and I do feel bad for Ezra, but he used his best friend to help protect the girl that he always, whether, you know, however Lainey was in his life to protect Lainey. And it's always been kind of pushing her away to keep her safe. And now I think he's realizing like I messed up with that.
Yeah.
So I like their back and forth a lot. And I want more from Adam and to see what his end game is.
I'm sure I am there too. I mean, I just yeah,
You're Ezra, I'm Adam. We both like Milo. And then I think with Bodhi, we're like, how is Bodhi gonna fit in? That's what I'm curious to see. Because
I'm very
we're
intrigued.
not, yeah. I'm intrigued to see how they fall for each other, especially considering all the guys that are around her. Like, I feel like something big has to happen, right? For like,
well, and we're getting set up for them all having to have like this trust, right? Like Lainey had the talk with Ezra, and then like, Milo's getting a text from Adam, we need to talk. And then Bodhi is talking to Milo. And so there's this like web of them, even that at some point they're all going to have like this trust circle, because and it makes me nervous what's going to set that off where they're going to realize they need to do that.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
So it's exciting start to the series, and then we've got more when we talk to Heather Long about it. So
so stay tuned for a little clip with Heather. It will fade out.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
It's so good to see you.
Good to see you. I was like, wait, when I first logged in, I was like, the cameras were off. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know we were. It told me that there wasn't like no cameras. I'm assuming it was because it was waiting.
It must have been.
So I was like, okay.
I noticed that in the Royals series, it seemed like you said, I think you said there was like 4 more books. So I think it's a book longer than you were originally planning, right?
Well, we added a dude, so we needed another book.
That makes sense though, because you do have to give enough time for all the relationships to be explored.
Yeah, and I'm very much not a slam bam, thank you, ma'am, no matter what Ezra thinks from this last book. So
without the thank you.
Yeah, there was no thank you going on there.
Yeah.
Did we like when Milo apologized to Lady right before he belted Ezra?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I was so impressed with him in this book. Yeah.
Right. I feel like he was just so needed to have this like one stable relationship while she deals with Adam and Ezra doing their thing.
Yeah. Well, and
Adam is my favorite.
Milo, we're getting to see who Milo was before prison. There's a reason why Milo was in charge of the Vandals. There's a reason he was the leader. There was the reason he was always thinking ahead, but prison fucked him up. And then not knowing where Ivy was for those last few weeks that he was there, or a few months that he was there, and then coming back and finding that she's shacked up with all of his friends. Yeah, no.
That's a lot.
That was just, Milo was not in a good place when he got home.
Yeah. He was always striving, I feel like, to get to that upper crust society to be good enough to be in her life. So I feel like he's been like training for this his whole life, but he got, like you said, he got sidetracked, which, I mean, God, that would happen to anybody.
Well, and of course it all ties into everything that's going on in Royals. And there's so many other twists that are coming, and there are so many other pieces to the puzzle, and there are so many other characters that are going to pop up that people are going to be like, wait, what? My favorite one is coming in this book, so I just want to see who catches it.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna be eagle-eyed about this. Is this a character that we have seen in your world before?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Is it? Oh gosh. Is it someone who has been a main character?
They've been a supporting character.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm just like doing mental thinking about who it could be. Is it someone from Vandals, or is it somebody from somewhere else? You can't say. She can't say. She can't say.
I hear Stephanie in my head going, "No spoilers!"
Oh, Stephanie in the comments, they're just no
spoilers.
I swear, literally, I will literally send links to my stuff, post to her, and go, "There you go. I dropped you another one." She's like, "Oh my god!"
She needs a shirt that just says "No spoiler ever."
Well, it's like what I told her. I said, "That's not a spoiler. It's spoiler adjacent." And she goes, "Yes." And she goes, "It is spoiler adjacent." I said, "Then by its own definition, it is not a spoiler."
Right. It just gets the wheels turning. It just gets us like keeping an eye out. It's not.
Well, and that's like when people are asking me, is Rachel ever going to get a book? Yes, Rachel is going to get a series. I can't not answer that question.
Right.
Yeah.
I really want to write that series. I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
Right.
And people, I don't think that's a spoilers to know that somebody's going to get a series.
But right now, everything I say to anybody about anything is a spoiler. I can tell you that I wrote a chapter today and Steph would yell, "No spoilers."
That she just wants a gag order.
Well, I was doing when I did the live, I literally put the live for this series in the spoiler room on purpose. Yeah. Because there's no way for me to talk about Royals without talking about Vandals.
Yeah.
That makes sense. At the end of the day, when I was first writing Battle Lines, I was trying to not spoil a lot of stuff, and I'm like, fuck it. Just fuck it. At this point, and honestly, one of the things I have to add is if you were to do a reading order, this is the order you would read the books in.
Yeah, definitely.
Because and they were too intrinsic to Vandals to not reference the shit that went down in Vandals.
Yeah.
And of course, we have to have the Vandals show up. So I had fun with Liam's little guest appearance.
I loved that. I loved it. It made me so happy to see Liam. And I liked him bringing up the other guys too. Like they weren't there, but he, it makes sense that Milo's going to think about his friends. He's not with them, but he's going to think of Freddie, oh, well, good thing Freddie's not here, or all this stuff. Like, it's like, I loved those mentions. You're like, yeah.
Well, and it's because life goes on. I mean, it's they're not in a bubble as much as it feels like they're in a bubble at times. They're not in a bubble. And that was why even when Lainey was there in Braxton Harbor, there was that need to get back because now you see all the other shit that she was dealing with at home.
Yeah.
And I love the sheer number of people who are going, I always thought she was a badass. She's way more of a badass than I realized.
She is. She really is. I love, I think my favorite scene in the whole book is the fencing scene with her and Adam. Because I think it represents so much. And I'm sorry, but Adam, maybe I'm feeling the Archie vibes from him or something. I just feel like that the tension between them, just the angst, that their chemistry, that fencing was just everything. And then their conversation afterwards. Oh, I loved that scene.
Hey,
that was just,
I had a lot of fun with that. She has a lot of other skills that I get to come up with and play with. And the fact that people are getting, because I said to, when we were first mapping out the big picture stuff, I had said that this series was going to, it ending up now being more like Gossip Girl meets Dynasty meets Blacklist.
Okay.
Check. Love it. Ooh, I wonder if we're gonna have a Gossip Girl. If that's a hint, if we're gonna have like some kind of mysterious gossipy girl.
Well, we might get the chick from Blue Ivy Prep, the kissy cat person might show up doing shit in here. We'll see, because that's not as. I mean, there's a reason. There's actually, oh god, the sheer volume of research I've done on old money versus new money, and why old money doesn't mix with celebrities. And why they have very little use for celebrities in general. Because true old money doesn't make the news.
And they don't want to make the news.
And they don't want to make the news.
Okay, so this is old money.
So, well, you got old money. There is some new money in there too, though.
But they don't.
And there's a lot, there's a huge history too of wealthy Americans marrying broke aristocrats.
For the titles?
For the titles, for the access to the society, and the aristocrats do it because they've got money and it helps pay for, their lifestyles. So there's this huge history of it. So there's all this stuff that I've been trying to research so I can weave it in there without going, here's your history lesson.
Wow. So like new money will marry, so old money that's losing their money will marry the new money to even though they don't like them, because that gives them the money and then they get the in. Okay, that makes sense.
Anyway, but this has been all the research that I've been doing. So I have all of these family connections, and I can't actually use those families, but each of the families that are in the Royals represents one of those families.
So they're inspired by. And I did notice a little blurry on some of those family trees, on one of the family trees.
Yeah, well, we hadn't actually gotten the name yet. So I was like, instead of just taking it out, I just blurred it.
Okay, well, I'm kind of happy you told me that, because I was like having all these like mysterious thoughts about that name. Like it could have meant something. Like,
Well,
okay.
it could. That doesn't mean it doesn't. It just
True.
we haven't
But
learned
now I
the
don't
name
have to
in the
go
story
too.
yet.
Okay. But I don't have to go too deep because I was like, wait, who's Bodhi's mom? Like, what if Bodhi's okay. Gotcha.
Well, and it's like Bodhi had like 3 of my favorite scenes in the whole book. So particularly when he tossed the dude out the window.
Well, I'm very interested in Bodhi's motivations for sure.
Oh, I have theories, but they're probably wrong.
Nobody's doing theories over in the group, which is kind of like a bummer, but I'm like, okay.
They're not.
I like it when people do theories. They're fun for me.
Oh, yeah. No.
You don't have to tell me. I'm just saying they're fun for me to
No,
go
it
and
was
read.
more of a wonderment because with Bodhi going to be part of the group, I'm trying to tie him like into it in a romantic way. So like I was telling Megan earlier, I was like, is Bodhi's like killing off people who are a threat to Lainey? That was basically my wonderment theory. See,
Like, is that why he's killing? Oh, okay.
I'll actually answer that one. I'm like, I mean, could they be? I guess.
But that's not what it is. Okay.
No.
So he's
got his own motivations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say this much. Everybody in this series has their own trajectory that they're on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But they will all tie together. There's a reason they all like lean into each other. It's like, why is Milo there? To get rid of King. What is Lainey doing? She's protecting her family, but she's also helping Milo, but she's trying to look after, every other thing. So, and we knew from Vandals that Bodhi was looking for something. So what is Bodhi looking for?
Right.
Yeah. So, and then there's Ezra, who's just like a hot fucking mess. So
I love him so much. I love him so much. But then the blurb at the end of the book, I was just like, Ezra, I'm so sorry.
I do love that he's so disastrous, though, that like he just like, I mean, if you think about it, his best friend abandoned him. He's in love with his best friend's girl. Like the fact that like I think he's just put into these horrible positions. And he just doesn't know how to function. It's hilarious. I find it very fascinating. And it wasn't what I expected of Ezra either. Like going into this book, I don't think I expected him to be so messy.
You didn't recognize the drama queen from when he showed up after Liam and Rome and Dirty Devil?
I expected that, but I don't think I expected like to get the vulnerability of like I think I thought he knew what he was doing. Like maybe I think he realizes he doesn't know what he's doing in this book.
No, he knows what he's doing. He's doing a bunch of things.
I feel like he thinks he's like fucking up with Lainey. Like he like handled everything so poorly.
Well, I don't think he handled it well.
No, not at all. Like he's like so apologetic. He's like basically begging, like, you've gotta, I just don't think he seemed more put together.
She does say at one point, and I know she says it in the book, so I don't feel bad about saying this, is that Ezra, when he's drinking, he's either a very cuddly drunk or he's an absolute raging asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never know which Ezra you're going to get. And he's done this shit to her for years.
Okay. So this is a recurring.
Yeah, that's why she's just like, no, we're not doing it that way right now.
Yeah.
And then I just love that even though like Adam and Ezra are friends and there's a strain, like when it comes to Lainey, it's like, I'm going to punch you. And Milo's like, I'm going to punch you if you hurt her. Like, I don't care if we're friends. I don't care if we're enemies. We're going to punch you.
Ezra's got a very punchable face.
It seems like he got beat up. He just got so beat on this book. Does Ezra have, like, can he fight at all? Or is he just the non-fighter of the group?
I take it that he might relish the punch sometimes. I think
like he feels like he deserves it.
I actually think he's got a pain thing.
Yeah. I think he needs to feel something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's got a bit of a pain thing. I will say I do think he's a little masochistic at this point. But he has his reason.
So, but is it that he likes the pain because he like needs to feel something and he has his reasons, or is it because he feels like he needs to be punished, or a little bit of both? Okay. I have to keep reading. Oh goodness. Okay, so you've got all these players on the board here. Like I'm trying to figure out like what is the end game here? Like you got like
And you're
Lainey
not gonna know.
stuff
Why
for
are you
the girl.
asking this?
Because I'm looking at her body language. Okay, I'm getting body language.
The end game is 6 books.
Wait, okay. Is it 6 books counting the novella?
Yes.
Okay, so
it is 6 books counting the novella.
Okay, so it's 4 more after what we just read. Okay, 4 more.
We were talking about that. I'm like, it's a 4-book series. She's like, it's not a 4-book series. I'm like, okay, then what is it?
But you have to read that end bit.
It was originally going to be, I had said it was going to be 4 or 5 books. And then the more I thought about it, the more I wanted Shamelessly Loyal to be the first book, because even though it's a novella and it's a bridge book in its own way, it technically takes place during Vandals, but it also sets the groundwork for Lainey in specific. Yes. But also the Lainey Milo relationship. And since the first book of literally, like, I mean, if you were calling Battle Lines the first book, it picks up with those two already in a relationship. I didn't want to have to revisit and explain everything that happened in Shamelessly Loyal without saying I can reference it with a couple of lines.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so that would be the first book. But even with adding Bodhi and knowing I needed the space in the story, the more I looked at the map of the overall story, I needed the space to tell it in, because this is not a simple tale. And the sheer volume of characters that I introduced in Battle Lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually felt bad for Denise because I had to send her a chart with all the characters.
Well, I'm glad you're not like trying to squeeze it all into like a condensed, version. That would have been tough.
Yeah, there's not a way to do that. And I also didn't want to write a 500,000 word book. So
the only way to do it would be to like basically make 2 books in one.
I mean, it's like, it's kind of like if you look at the Madison Kate series, and you see how long Kate is, or you look at Hades and you see how long Timber is, that's because there was so much going on. There was so much meat. There was no way to wrap it up without covering everything. And I don't want to do the, book.
Yeah. That does seem to be a trend where the last book is like significantly thicker.
And funnily enough, in Vandals, Fierce Dancer was only slightly longer than Savage Vandal.
Yeah, it is smaller. That, I guess, because it is a 9-book series, so you had the time and space to wrap it all up.
And
so
I was able to wrap up major plot points as I went and not leave everything for the end.
Yeah.
Which I'm probably going to do in this one too.
Which I like. So it does seem like, though, are you trying to lean more towards not as long of series? It seems like because Blue Ivy was 4, and that was like, I feel like you are kind of saying maybe it was too short.
It is too short.
Yeah.
You don't have to say I'm kind of saying it is too short.
It's too short. Okay, it's too short. So 4 is too short. We're saying like Frankie too, like that's a little long. So are you trying to work on like a 6 book, like a happy medium between like 9 and like Vandals 9?
I think what I want to do is not plan on any like locked in number of books. A series needs to be as long as a series needs to be.
Yep. Watching and reading, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.